another film that I'm sure you're hearing a lot of recently, Powell and Pressburger's The Red Shoes. You know, a lot of people are going to... There aren't that many great fiction films about ballet. There are now maybe two, that one and this one. I'm not going to compare and contrast.
There's the Center Stage series.
Fair enough. I read that you only saw The Red Shoes fairly recently with Martin Scorsese when you were doing the restoration of it. So I want to put that back on you. When you sit there and kind of compare and contrast the two films, are there things that you take away that you can see from both works?
Comparing this film to The Red Shoes? Well, I mean, that film's a classic masterpiece. We have 60 years to go of Criterion Collection to get there. So, it's great that people are, mentioning them in sentences, but it's just very, it's humbling. I mean, it's an amazing film that's lasted a long time. I didn't really see Red Shoes. I had heard about it, but I didn't see it till, we were really deep into making the film. And then all the, attention of the Hollywood Foreign Press and Martin Scorsese's restoration came out, and so I checked it out, and there are a lot of similarities. There's a very powerful, artistic director, and there's a dancer who loses herself in her imagination, and so. But I think it's because they're both come out of the ballet world, and the ballet world hasn't changed that much in 150 years. The hierarchy is very clear, and the devotion is very clear, and the commitment is very clear, and so, only a few stories come out of that. That happened to be based on a ballet called The Red Shoes, and ours was Swan Lake. So that would, put it to different directions because, Swan Lake has this half swan, half human creature, and that sort of came up with, that sort of inspired for me the Swan, update of the werewolf movie for this film. And so, that was the different trips.
So did you approach this film, somewhat looking at it as like a horror film?
Well, I think it's very much a fairy tale. I always wanted, for a while, Black Swan was called Swan Lake. The studio didn't like that title as much as Black Swan. And so for me, it really was a movie version of the ballet where we took all the characters from the ballet and transformed them through metaphor into these characters, into the mother and the artistic director, and we split the Black Swan and the White Swan. And so, that was just, so for me it's a fairy tale. And, fairy tales are often very gothic and filled with, a lot of melodrama and horrific elements.